Communications Incorporated, its management, or advertisers. Vision Communications Incorporated is not responsible for the validity or accuracy of information presented on this program. Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Norman Shealy and Dr. Sergey Leo Shealy-Sorin. Get the health answers you need from the creator of holistic medicine and the 2020 Holistic Doctor of the Year. To be a part of today's show, call 417-447-1777. Wellness Wednesday. Now, here are your hosts, Dr. Norman Shealy and Dr. Sergey Leo Shealy-Sorin.
And hello. Actually, we are... Oh, here we are. Hello. We are... We're here, right? Okay, here and now, today, in the present moment, not in the past, not in the future. Topic of today's conversation, modern alchemy, converting negative into positive. Or in other words, becoming the master of your destiny. If that sounds good to you, keep on listening. We got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, of course, sitting here with the founding father of energy medicine, Dr. Norm Shealy himself, let's talk about energy, life, and the all around.
Everything has some degree of energy. There's nothing, I mean, this plastic has energy. The microphones have energy. And the earth itself has energy. 7.8 hertz. And hertz is 7.8 cycles
per second. Yeah, that's Schumann frequency, isn't it?
Well, because our body demands, for health, demands that 7.8 cycles. Ideally, it would be nice if our shoe soles conducted that energy through them, because walking around barefooted would be more helpful for us. But there are energy centers in the body. The legs are the first chakra or first cycle. The second is the pelvis. The third is the solar plexus. Next is the heart. Next is the throat, the will center. And then there's the brain and the connection with the cosmos. And you multiply 7.83 by 7 plus or minus 2 each level, and that's the body functioning as a whole. Now, in a sense, everything that takes place in the body is alchemy, because it takes the crudest things and makes it into refined matter. And I think the center of alchemy is the small intestine, because there are more cells, bacteria, in the small intestine than there are cells in our body. And it takes whatever we take in and converts it to use for food of some kind or another for our body.
In other words, energy conversion.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it runs our blood sugar, it runs the blood pressure, it runs everything chemical. Now, if we take in enough junk, well, it can't work very efficiently. And there are 8 basic requirements for the alchemy to work properly. At the bottom, or top requirement, is food, and the average American eats too much junk. The average American eats only 2.2 servings of fruits and vegetables. You need 5 to 8. If you eat less than 5, you are in sad shape, period. In addition to the food, you need certain vitamins, in infinitely more than required 60 years ago because of pollution. So D3, you probably get by with 400 units. Now you need 7,000 units a day. Vitamin B complex, you need 25 milligrams. Originally, you needed 1 or 2 milligrams. Vitamin C, originally was 60 to 80 milligrams. Now it's 4 grams. But if you don't get that, you're going to suffer one way or another. Next in importance is physical exercise.
Activity, movement.
The average person gets none.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, only 10% get the minimum requirement of 20 minutes, 4 days a week. I get more than a week's supply every day, 90 minutes. I would feel stupidly negligent if I exercise 20 minutes 4 times a week. Third is sleep. 42% of Americans get inadequate sleep, less than 7 hours a night. You, a poor alchemist, poor chemist, poor liver in all respects, including the liver itself, if you don't get excess sleep.
Enough sleep, and actually every organ recharges at certain time of the night or day. So if we don't follow the basic blueprint of the human body, which is what we're talking about, that's what is required for the alchemy, for the energy conversions, for everything really, for activities. And if we don't give the body what it needs, what the cells need, it's not going to work, and that's just as simple as that. But go ahead, please.
And this is stress management.
Of course, yeah.
The cause of excess weight, and 72% of Americans are overweight with 36% plain fat. That 72% can't alchemize properly, period. If you eat fast food, you might as well eat garbage. My favorite statement is I went to McDonald's in 1962. It opened in Cleveland, where I lived at the time. I took one bite, spit it out, and never been back, and never will go back. I wouldn't drink a cup of coffee at a fast food restaurant because I wouldn't trust it there.
Let's talk about, since we're talking about something that is obviously not so positive or negative in Dr. Shealy's experience, and that's pretty clear how you feel about that. I want to talk about another angle or aspect of energy, and I want to make sure that we're very clear on what we covered now so far. They say when you do any kind of presentation or you want something to get, to stick around in memory, in the mind, is say it again, and then just make sure that you understand that you said it. I'm not sure how many times you have to repeat it, but here is the main concept. This is based on the blueprint of the human body, human physiology, human needs. If we follow the human blueprint, which is including everything Dr. Shealy said, from nutrition, exercise, sleep, rest, reset, stress management, all of these things, and if we do this properly, and plus supplement in the appropriate amounts with the things that are missing in the food supply and the food industry, basically we can have a good, absolutely wonderful life with proper alchemy. In other words, everything working chemically, neurochemically, endocrine, and everything else. No need for disease. But there is another aspect that I'd like to cover, which is also just as important, because bad things happen to good people. And that's just a fact. Bad things happen. Disease, chronic disease, injuries, issues, relationship problems, financial, you name it, whatever it is that hits you, that hurts you in life. And life is obviously a mix of the good and the bad, the ugly and the beautiful. And so how does one go about all of this? Because in one way, there is a lot of suffering that happens when we encounter all this negative, the shadow, the pain, and the difficulty. And again, just to put it in perspective from the holistic aspect, is I want to come back to the understanding that everything is indeed energy, everything, including physical objects, as we said, but it's also movement, emotion, thoughts, intention. There's spiritual forces as well, and there is also several basic principles that I want to make sure that I communicate very clearly. When we talk about things happening, good things happening or bad things happening, or how we feel about things, there is a very clear and definitive definition of the action and consequence, or basically, there's another way to say it, karma. And that's that concept of karma, or in other words, action and consequence. If you do good lifestyle, generally you get good outcomes. If you do bad lifestyle, you get bad outcomes. Karma. In other words, so if you have bad lifestyle and you get bad outcomes, it's not really fair to be upset or angry about what happened, because it's literally a logical conclusion to the process. And another thing is, I want to talk about another concept briefly. What is truth? In other words, if Dr. Shealy has a certain version of the truth, and I have a certain version of the truth, and Robin has a certain version of the truth, which one of the three of us is correct? And how many of the millions of people truth is correct and others is not? Well, this is what I thought about this very carefully and over many years. And finally, I realized something. Please jump in with your opinion. Truth is not necessarily my opinion or my feelings of how the world should be. It's not even Dr. Shealy's, even though he's probably right on most things. And from what I've seen, truth is what happens on the ground. Right now, it's raining outside. If, for example, I want to close my eyes and say that it's sunny in my reality, well, my truth is my truth. You can't persuade me otherwise. I'm going to continue to think this way, but it doesn't stop the fact that if I come outside, I'm going to get wet. That's the truth. It's simply what is. So when you're looking at the truth and what's happening in reality, look at the situation, look at the good, look at the bad, look at the ugly, and see it for what it is, because then you can do something about it. Do you want to jump in?
Well, every thought is a prayer. My favorite quote of all times. Thinking sets in motion spiritual forces to bring about change in body, mind, companions, hopes, and despairs. You cannot afford the luxury of negative thinking.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. The other part of this is freedom of choice. We talk about the word freedom. The best kind of freedom that I know is the freedom of choice. Not just medical freedom, not just, freedom in every single way. The freedom to be myself, the freedom to be authentic, the freedom to follow my gut, and the freedom to be my best optimal self. Now, Viktor Frankl, there is a author of logotherapy, a survivor of concentration camps in Nazi Germany. Freedom of choice between stimulus and response. There's a freedom to choose. In other words, you can be all three of us here in this room can be in the same situation and handle it differently and get a different outcome of that situation. And that's just a fact. How I respond, how I choose to respond, and what comes out is my responsibility. Ability to respond, responsibility. That's one of the main principles, another staple in terms of holistic. Anything on your mind on this?
Well, I had a note today from a man who has early diabetic neuropathy. And he says, it runs in my family. Rarely is it genetic. It's junk diet. Sugar. Sugar is the original non-food. If you ate the sugar cane or the sugar beet, probably be fair. But extracting sucrose from it is dangerous to your health.
Again, bigger principle here, bigger concept, responsibility. People like to blame a lot of things on a lot of factors: genetics, parents, families, stress. The fact of the matter is, what are you going to do about it? And the fact of the matter is also that there's tools available for all of that, holistic tools that work. Another thing that I want to say is, in the concept and understanding of alchemy or converting one element into another, I just want to come back to the concept of alchemy as it started. The original understanding, as I know it, and please feel free to correct me if I'm not right, is that the goal was to create gold. Now, if you think of gold in terms of symbolism, gold meaning health, desires, financial security, whatever it is that you want to create, it's an energy. Again, we're talking about energy, energy medicine, energy healing, energetic universe. Literally, we're all interconnected. So how does one go about creating the outcomes that one truly desires? You have to truly be in the moment, in the present moment, right here, right now. You have to be aware, not in the past, not in the future. And you have to be responsible for what you do and how you respond to situations, because that will determine the outcome. The outcome of that will determine the next set of circumstances. And so a person who's been chronically ill can actually get healthier, better. And in getting older, we can get healthier.
And interestingly, colloidal gold is a good supplement. It's gold to the mind and body in effect. Just a tablespoon a day can improve your health.
And also colloidal silver as well.
Colloidal silver is good for immune system, especially, but the gold is good for energy.
Wonderful. So another thing that I just want to make sure that I address, and I know I normally just gonna go based on inspiration, but this is something that is extremely important. When you have bad things happen in life, bad things in terms of health, relationships, financial, anything that is difficult, painful, or unpleasant, you can look at it as a punishment. You can look at it as a fate. You can look at it as a label, or you can make a choice, literally make a choice, and determine that this is going to be a lesson, a point of growth. And just as there's a story of I hope I'll say this right, a donkey that falls into a well. Please kind of fill in some of them details, but the basic concept is the villagers decided to bury the donkey and just started shoving sand down that well, and the donkey just shook off and stepped off to the side, rising up with the sand, and then came out alive and well. So the bottom line is there's multiple options out of every situation if one is able to see a big picture: spirit, soul, mind, body, who we are, and then follow the blueprint of health and wellness, and then the positive outcomes are going to be more positive, more likely, and life is going to be so much better. Now, all negatives are not necessarily a negative if you can learn from it. But the point is you have to take that as a responsibility, to take all your lessons as a lesson and say, hey, I did that, I'm responsible, I'm going to learn from it, I'm going to do better.
And essentially, electricity is an alchemical increaser. All the gadgets from TENS, the spinal cord stimulator, the transcranial stimulator, the PIMP device especially, my favorite. I cannot say enough. The cranial PIMP is more important and useful than all the psychologists, psychiatrists, and mood drugs in the world.
And by the way, that PEMF, quick summary for anyone who hasn't, not familiar with it. One of our favorite inventions, devices, and lots of PEMF devices out there, ranging from different pricing, different functions. What Dr. Shealy and myself have put together with the team is literally puts the brain into gamma, which is an optimal state, great for addiction. Well, we've seen help with addiction to the degree that's beyond conventional by far, in short, and so many other benefits. But there's also several other modes: the relaxation mode with the delta for sleep, and otherwise, again, energy. Energy comes up, energy comes down, and then there's the general sweep mode. And by the way, when you remember, you were talking about the basic frequency of the Earth, 7.8.
Yes. And it enhances the normal chakras, energy centers of the body. It alone puts the brain into gamma. Every 10 minutes, it cycles through the gamma frequency, and it's alone, except in the depression and anxiety, it is the favorite sweep for me.
Absolutely. Actually, I've had several feedback from people who they didn't even have medical issues or concerns. They were just using it for feel better, more energy, and get the brain in a better place. And the interesting thing is, there was so much positive feedback beyond the well, just in terms of spiritual, just being able to see, to understand, to clear. And I think going through the 7 energy centers, or you can call them nerve plexuses, you can call them whatever you want to call them, basically chakras. Ancients have known about this for a long time. We're just starting to understand this scientifically, but everything is energy. And energy is in everything. So learning how to work with energy and not judge it, but literally work with it, is the key to health and turning negative into positive. Please. Yeah.
And speaking of my favorite energy, scalar,
Oh.
according to quantum physicists, all empty space in the entire universe is filled with scalar energy, and empty space the size of a helium molecule is enough energy to boil the Earth's oceans. And I have 218 cases of individuals in Springfield who have their EEG changed within a couple of minutes by spiritual healers from as far away as 2,000 miles. Now, obviously, only scalar goes that fast.
Actually, I've heard other terms in, in the quantum world, torsion waves and otherwise. But I mean, it's just fascinating, absolutely fascinating, how everything is truly interconnected and how we are interconnected and powerful. One thing that is going to be very important in making the decisions in your life, and this is actually where we're talking about modern day alchemy. I'm just going to summarize the concept one more time, is that you have the power, you have the responsibility, the ability to respond, and everything negative that happens is an opportunity to learn and to grow. And if you do that, then you don't have to repeat the same situation over and over again. Now, if you want to repeat that situation again, you certainly can. Now, but it's not necessary. The pain is not necessary. And all the problems are also not necessary. So if you want to, there's a term enlightenment, which some people understand better than others. I'm not sure what the true meaning is, but if you take the meaning, the root of light, enlighten, to light up, that means to grow, to understand, to improve, and doesn't mean necessarily in any given direction. There's millions of ways you can be enlightened. But what is the substrate? What is the fuel for the enlightenment? It's the shadow. It's all the dark material that we get to work with, and when we process all that stuff properly, then we can get to a higher level, and that's a blessing.
And basically, we are basic spirits, and the spirit has a foe which incarnates to teach us lessons. But the lessons are there whether you learn them or not. And if you are stupid and ignore the fundamentals, well, you're not going to be very healthy.
And in general, where there's poor health, there's poor everything across the board. Financial, marital, family, I mean, just name it. When the frequency and the vibration internally is low, negative, sick, everything around is going to be sick, or the environment is going to correspond to that. So if you want the environment, if you want your world around you to be healthy, happy, productive, you got to work on yourself internally. And that is, again, responsibility.
And you can become the ultimate alchemist and enjoy optimal health. And, well, why not?
Why not?
Okay, we're clear. We're still on Facebook.
All right. So we're still live on Facebook and YouTube. So let's say hello to all the listeners, everyone who is watching. It's wonderful to have you. And by the way, if you're not, if you have any friends who are not following us on the YouTube and Facebook, well, you're missing a certain segment from that you don't get on the radio itself. And we're happy to answer any questions and to hear what our people have to say.
We do have a question on the internet. A young lady's asking what you can do for adrenals.
An interesting article on Addison himself, who described adrenal insufficiency. The important thing is to feed your DHEA, dehydroepiandrosterone. It's primarily made in the adrenal glands, and most people with any kind of illness are low in it. And you can raise your DHEA by using magnesium lotion, by taking our youth formula, and Fire Bliss. I mean, it's so important to do this few things to raise your
News is
DHEA
brought to you
naturally.
by Any Lab Test Now.
Sorry. My bad.
All right, so back to DHEA, right? Okay. So there's another one thing for DHEA which I'm not sure if you mentioned. Yes.
Men and women benefit from it.
Yep. And those four things will raise DHEA by 60% each, but over 250%, I believe, to altogether. Great combination. Plus, DHEA is generally low in any kind of deficiency or stress state. Any other questions?
Gentleman is asking if you can talk about the value of lithium as a supplement. He's presently taking 25 milligrams a day from lithium carbonate. Is this a safe and effective daily dosage?
Lithium carbonate,
It's not as good as orotate. Much better orotate, but halitosis is better, no breath at all.
lithium is a wonderful supplement. We use it in combination with tryptophan. Tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin.
And B complex.
And the B complex. So I mean, these are some of the basic things that you really need when you take the lithium and tryptophan would be in the dosages of approximately anywhere from most people, I'd say 3 to 6 grams. So you can be a little higher, a little lower, but that makes serotonin. And the interesting thing is about serotonin is that in the evening or by nighttime, it converts to melatonin. So people will actually have a good day and then a good night thereafter. That's one of the keys to controlling the circadian rhythm. But there is also lifestyle too, very important.
We have about a minute and a half.
Mm-hmm.
We have another question. Please talk about stem cell therapy to treat osteoporosis.
Oh, okay. Do you want to start?
Well, I fan enzymes. It's cheaper and just as effective in improving metabolism in general, I think. But I'm not opposed to stem cells. If you can afford it and get it paid for, go for it.
I love general restorative. Restorative includes PRP, platelet-rich plasma, stem cells, exosomes. There's all sorts of products. There's, Wharton's jelly. There's a wide range of things out there that work very well. I'm personally very grateful for regenerative it allowed me to come back to work, emergency room-wise, 24-hour shift after having a burst fracture of my lumbar third vertebrae. I was in a pretty terrible car crash, and my medical partner and now my dad, Dr. Norm Shealy, said, "Why don't you do some regenerative? Inject some stem cells, PRP, so on and so forth." And I said, "Yeah, let's do that." Great, felt a lot better to get. But I also used PEMF and other things too.
Oh yes.
And we're getting ready to come back in.
99.5
Oh.
Now back to Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Norman Shealy and Dr. Sergey Leo Shealy-Sorin.
And you are now on the air, and you can phone with your questions, 417-477-1. Say it in the microphone, please.
447.
Okay, let's do the number again here.
417-447-1777.
All right.
Y'all call.
We got it. A lot of 4s and a lot of 7s. All right. So feel free to call in, please. In the meantime, we'll keep on talking. And the topic today is modern alchemy, how you can become the master of your personal universe, including dealing with the negatives and processing them into gold, so to speak, and also optimizing the good, the positive, the wonderful things in life.
And remember, as I mentioned at the beginning, one of the essentials is extra vitamin C, vitamin B complex, and D3, and magnesium, all critically important in allowing you to be an excellent alchemist. And in Springfield, the place to get those is Spring Valley. I prefer Spring Valley because of service. You know, you've got 10,000 or more items. How can you find it with their help? You walk in the door and somebody comes to tells you what you want and it finds it for you. They carry all of our goodies except the pip device, but our bliss oils, magnesium lotion, the youth formula, the D3, the essentials. It's the place where I shop, and you should too. And if you're an average American getting only 2.2 servings of fruits and vegetables, you need Nature Blessed Tart Cherry Juice Concentrate at a real grocery store in the produce department. 2 tablespoons a day gives you 3.5 more servings of top vegetable, fruit, etc. So you at least get up to the minimum requirement with Nature Blessed Tart Cherry Juice Concentrate. Lowers your cholesterol, anti-inflammatory, and tastes good. If you don't have it, it's a fake grocery store.
Hmm. And actually, I do enjoy that stuff personally as well. It does taste good. Yeah. So if we have any callers, we're happy to take those to take the calls. But again, let's talk about energy. And by the way, energy is in everything. Think of the modalities. Think of the bliss oils, for example. You've got certain free. I mean, everything is a frequency. This is a frequency. This is a frequency. Solids are frequencies. Air is frequency. Liquid is frequency. Everything is energy. And if you really break it down and understand what is conducive to our health and wellness in terms of energies and what is not conducive, and start to work with that, and also make changes in the patterns that reside in those energy fields. But go ahead, please.
And here, my favorite is avoid Springfield water. It's poison. You wind up with your pineal gland calcified by the age 17 and unable to do all kinds of things. Lowers your IQ only 10%. It's poison. Get a filter to remove all fluoride and tell your dentist you'll bite the hand off if they put fluoride in your mouth.
Indeed. Now, let's talk about some of the other poisons and some of the other things, some of the other negatives that people might not know about. So, we've got chlorine, we got fluoride. Now, let's. We talk about this enough, but there is Roundup or glyphosate, basically, in the foods, primarily in the grains and the. I've never minded the pastas in general. I mean, but here's the thing: if it's loaded with poison internally from the chemical sprays and otherwise.
And thanks to your Federal Death Administration, 75% of the rain, and we had a lot of it in April, has glyphosate, poison in it. Now, 90% of the groundwater has glyphosate in it. We should check the water home because
Yes.
if we get it filtered, it's gotten into our groundwater.
Actually, yes. The reason we're talking about this is we're putting a garden together very soon. And again, when you grow your own things, you want to make sure that you have good foundations, good water, good soil, and everything else. Now, what are some of the other things that people should be aware of in general?
Well, you need to watch the temperature and adjust the inside temperature to something that's comfortable. Anywhere from 71 or 2 to 74 degrees is healthiest. And if it gets to 80 degrees, it puts a strain in the body. And if it gets below 70 degrees, it puts a minor strain in the body.
But what a thought comes in on that is that if a person is more comfortable in super hot or super low temperatures, there's probably some kind of an issue. So that's probably something to be considered, whether it's thyroid or something else. But yes, energy. There's a certain range which is generally healthy, and then there's generally things that are not so healthy for the blueprint of the humanity. As long as we follow the ideal blueprint of humanity, and I said it before, I'll say it again. No human, no man, woman, or child, and I'll say, is ever going to be smarter than the creator. In other words, we are created in the image and likeness. There's an amazing beauty, complexity, and wonderful thing to us, and we can't mess it up by, best thing is follow the design. We got a call.
And you on the air. How can we help you?
Hello.
Hi, I'm calling about the energy healing. I'm thinking about my son. He's 13 years old, and he's in this very low depressive state. And while I am so in line with everything that Dr. Shealy-Sorin have been saying, I find myself helpless how to support my son come out of this completely closed self. We eat very healthy food from scratch, biodynamic, whenever we can. There is no particular trauma like in this lifetime, and I don't know anything that might come as related to karma. So I don't know if you would have any thoughts on that. I would be very grateful.
How old is he?
He's 13, Dr. Shealy.
Okay. How much does he weigh?
How much he weighs?
Yes.
He weighs like 80-something pounds. He's on the small end.
Yeah, he's not overweight for sure. Okay. I would give him 2 a day, and after week 4 a day of our Essentials multivitamin, and at least 2 a day of our youth formula. And I would give him 50,000 units of vitamin D3 twice a month.
50,000 of D3 twice a month?
Yeah. And get him from our website one of biogenics exercises, Heal My Body.
Actually, I think the best thing at this point is just to get the whole program, because you can get the whole thing under $100, biogenicscourse.com.
But can I do anything for him? Because he himself does not want to take any remedies. He does not want to see any specialist. And that's where...
Yes, this is where it becomes difficult, and this is where we have to say, as much as we want to help another person, there is a decision. It's a freedom of choice, and unfortunately, if a person decides to stay in the shadow, in the darkness, there isn't much you can do to bring them out. Now, sometimes you bring a person out like that prematurely, and then they go into an even deeper depression because they haven't finished the work they were doing. Now, I'm not saying that people need to be depressed or in the shadow, but a person has to be ready, interested, and willing. And as terrible as this may be, actually, no, go ahead. You want to say something?
Does he like any juice?
If he likes any juice, yes, he likes juices.
Well,
he would drink juice.
You could put the full vitamin supplement in the average amount of juice he would drink and blenderize it thoroughly, and he would take them that way.
The way to approach this is, first of all, there are 3 layers to this. There's physical layer, which is obviously you're seeing what happens in behavior, in his physiology, and so on and so forth. There is the mental and emotional, which is basically the control center, where primarily the dysfunction happens to be right now.
Yes, he's
and then
so
there is
depressed. He's saying, yeah.
and then there's the spiritual and soul level. Now,
Yes.
and the reason that the people get stuck in the pattern of mental and emotional, stuck literally, and they're in the box, but all they have to do is just step out. Their perception and their world is in that box. So until they say, and until they're willing and by whatever means to say, okay, I'm done with this box. I want to see what else is out there. Trying to grab them out of that box is going to be the scariest thing for them, literally, because this is their identification. So there are ways and means to work biologically, biochemically. There's the PEMF device, which is one of the best things for this. I mean, you can literally put it under the pillow. That can actually switch the brain into better modes and operations. But at some point, even a 1% interest on the behalf of a person, a child, the party who is directly involved is essential for movement, because we've had many people who have made progress. They were basically doing great, but their programming, their concept said, nope, that's not going to happen. And they would basically go back to.
And that's what I don't know how to help Dr. Sorin, because he's to a point that he says, I'm so bored, I'm going to kill myself. And as a parent, I feel completely helpless to support him, to awaken him, to open up this closed shell.
And
definitely consider a consult with us, and you can rent the PEMF device for a month to try it. $200 just to try it adequately, and at least have him sleep with it on his head.
Do you have the number to the clinic?
Yes, I have called the clinic as well. Yes.
Wonderful. Yes. Let's talk. Let's connect. This is very timely and it's very important. The sooner we can hopefully help him get under control, well, the importance is there. I'm sure we.
Yes. And thank you to both of you, Dr. Shealy. I've read your books for many years, and I've sent you blessings with my children, because I've used the 10th machine back then, and all the energy healing that you have brought. It's a blessing, and it's wonderful to see both of you to offer your wisdom to us. Thank you so much.
And thank you, and bless you.
Yes. Do we have
Take care.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
Okay, now's your turn. 417-447-1777. And you don't have to call the clinic to get an answer to your basic questions.
I do want to say it's this kind of a situation. That we talked with a young lady just before. This is a very difficult thing, and the most important concept, I would say, is to get to a personal understanding that every single person, you are responsible for you, I'm responsible for me, Dr. Shealy is responsible for Dr. Shealy. And ultimately, that's where it rests. Now we can give each other a hand. We can say, hey, let's do this together. That's where coaching comes in. That's where accountability, responsibility, especially lifestyle and all these things. This is where the magic happens, but you've got to follow through, and you've got to know that this is on you. Your success is on you, your failures are on you, and when you fail, guess what? Get up and make the changes, adjust, and say, okay, this is not going in that direction, it's going to be the right thing. Do we have a caller?
You on the air?
Hi.
Hello? Anybody there? You on the air?
Hi.
Oh, hello?
Yes?
Yes, I do have a question.
Okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear, dear.
Okay.
Yep.
I called in a few months ago about post-COVID neuropathy, and you recommended the PEMF machine, which I bought.
Good.
How did I do?
And I also see an acupuncturist that prescribed herbal remedy for me, and I want to know if it's safe to do both at the same time.
Indeed. Absolutely. Totally safe.
It's the PEMF device works on a cellular level. It supports the cellular function. It supports lots of different things from ATP onwards, and it's usually a combination of supplements and certain biological support, in addition to electromagnetic support, that does the best job, in my experience. So I hope that helps.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And should I use the first level treatment where it scans? Is that the most effective?
Okay, say that one more time, please. The first part of the question I didn't come through.
Should you use what?
Which level of the treatment should I use? Level 1, level 2, or level 3?
For PEMF, yes, ma'am.
Yes, either try and compare 1 and 2. Either the chakra sweep or the sweep frequency and the gamma frequency.
Okay.
You should be able to do an hour of each and decide which feels better.
And that would be a very good start, I think.
Thank you both very much.
Yeah. Blessings.
Hey, you're welcome.
Give us a call back and let us know how it goes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're on the air.
Yes, I had a question for the doctor.
Okay.
I'm wondering, this PEMF, does it help fibromyalgia?
Yes, indeed, but you must take magnesium lotion as well.
Yes. Okay, I take magnesium orally.
No, you're wasting your money.
Oh.
Magnesium orally is good only as a laxative. It's very poor. No, you must put magnesium lotion on the biggest area of pain twice a day.
Okay. And then, with the PEMF, if I were to purchase that, what kind of settings would I put it in?
Well, in general, I would start with the first setting of the chakra sweep. I use it a majority of the time.
Mm-hmm. The setting number 2, which is the gamma, that's very useful regardless at some point if you want to optimize the brain function or just alertness, awareness. But the gamma is really great for just being in the zone. And it's also great for mood and other stabilization. The third setting is also useful to a lot of people, especially at night. Helps you sleep. It's in the delta range, 0 to 3 cycles per second, and it helps support stage 3 deep sleep. But it also does something else. We also noted that it decreases nerve activity. So people who have sciatica, nerve, for example, a nerve pain, or some other kind of situation, and I've been living with some of this, since my accident. It lets me know what to do, what not to do. It works very well on the third setting.
Mm-hmm. Will it help with fatigue? I just have such a problem with fatigue.
At the top of my list is raise your DHEA.
Okay, I do. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, doctor.
Fire Bliss, Eugesterone cream, magnesium lotion.
Okay.
And youth formula.
And in terms of the energy and fatigue, I do believe that PEMF. From the reports that we've done, we haven't done the formal study on that,
yes.
But it sounds promising so far. So.
Really? That's wonderful.
Think of it as a cellular support. Literally, the body is made of trillions of cells. So when you optimize the cell, you optimize the being.
Right. Well, now will that take away the nausea too? Because when I go into a crash, a fibro crash, I have nausea. I feel like I have the flu. It's just
that's
pain. Awful and headache.
Then put it over your abdomen.
Oh, you put the PMF on your abdomen then?
Sure.
Oh, and then do I have to put something between that and my body, or?
Well, no, but your digestive system gets the full source.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, don't forget about the brain-gut connection. In other words, whatever is happening in the gut affects the brain and vice versa, and the brain is the control center of it all. So, powerful stuff.
Oh, wow. That is. And now, if I wanted to use it at nighttime, would I put it under my pillow, or how do you?
under the pillow. And what I would do is a third setting, which is the delta mode,
Okay.
0 to 3 cycles per second. Now, give it a go. I mean, interestingly enough, actually, I had one person report to me that delta was excitatory, which is the complete opposite, and then the gamma made them relax. But that's atypical. That's one person out of many. So
we are unique individuals.
Yeah. Typically, nighttime setting is number 3. That's delta, and also if you have any specific areas of concern or pain, for example, at a spine level, that's another option.
Okay. Put it wherever I feel like it, because usually it's mostly like in my back, a lot of it in my back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you can even sit on it.
Sit on it.
Wow. In a comfortable chair, it's not noticeable.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that information. I am going to buy a PEMF.
Good. Blessings.
Okay.
Let us know how it goes.
I will. Thank you so much for the information.
Yes.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Right.
Have a good one.
So we have 2 minutes left in the show, and we'll talk for a little bit. We can take a quick question, but not much time for a longer conversation. So just a quick summary. When you have a tuning fork, for example, energy, vibration, frequency, and then you have another tuning fork, generally the tuning forks align. There is a resonance. That resonance, this is a similar principle when I think of internal and external, your thoughts, feelings, emotions, how you perceive, how you see yourself, and how you act and follow through on the things that are important. And so there you are. Create the best internal self, and then the environment itself will also become one that is conducive in terms of everything: health, family, finances, relationships. And this is that's part of the alchemy, transforming everything into gold. Everything.
And be an alchemist. Use the things that can set you on the path to health. And don't forget biogenics. The thinking sets in motion spiritual forces for 68 different exercises. So play with them, all for retraining the nervous system.
And this is where I fully agree, because the entire concept is spirit, soul, mind, body, holism. Well, we'll see you next week with another exciting radio show. And until then,
have
take
a good
care.
one.
Yep. And
We are still on Facebook Live.
yep, we're still on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So let's see if there's any questions or anything else.
Yep.
Mm.
Did you still want to take some questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this question is, what can you do for sciatica? Do I need certain supplements?
Well, I think the supplements is not the best thing. The best thing in the world is a PEMF device placed on your buttocks probably, or your upper thigh.
And I would use mode number 3 on that.
Yes.
That's been reported by physical therapy friends of ours. Another thing is, if you live local to Springfield, Missouri, which is where our practice is, we do something called Sacral Shear adjustments. It's not really chiropractic. It's more in line of the osteopathic manipulation techniques, and what it is just literally realigning the pelvis.
Yes.
It's not broken, it's not out of place, but it's just...
A lot of times sciatica is actually a rotation of the sacrum itself.
And that's a 30 to 60 second procedure. Usually you feel much better, and you can keep it in place if you do certain things. But that's some of the things we do in the office. Mm-hmm. Also, wouldn't the TENS unit be?
Well, a TENS unit could be placed. I would need to show you where to put it, but you could basically 2 electrodes above and 2 electrodes below the pain.
Yes.
We're trying.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts, questions?
Are there supplements to prevent Alzheimer's?
B complex at the top of the list. Essentials 4 a day.
That's number 1, yes. Mm-hmm.
Is it safe to get tattoos?
Is it safe to get tattoos? Okay, as a doctor, I'm supposed to say no. As a human, I will make a small confession. I do have a couple of my own, based on very special events in my life, and at some point I might talk about that. But
And be sure you want to live with it rest of your life.
One thing is, and this is kind of like maybe a bit of a joke, but before you put somebody's name on, I would think twice that you truly love them and they truly love you, and vice versa. Otherwise, if it's my only question is, it's your body, it's your art, enjoy, but make sure that you honor and respect who you are, and whatever ink comes through. That's my principle. It needs to be a reflection of who you are. But if you don't need it, that's okay too. Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, is magnesium taurate good to take orally?
Magnesium taurate orally.
No. Magnesium orally is only adequate in a dose to cause the diarrhea. The lotion is hundreds of times better.
And
right. I think that's it, pretty much.
Well, until next week.
Any comments or anything else?
There's actually quite a few people talking about that 13-year-old boy, and they're talking back and forth to each other about him.
And this is what I love about the community. We have a Facebook group. We have our list of friends and the wellness warriors. And I just want to say that this is the value of having a community of like-minded individuals, because when the intention with the intention towards healing, it's basically the next best thing is to surround yourself with a group of people. And this is what we're doing. We're creating a community of wellness warriors who are basically going to support and help each other along the way. So stick around as we share information, knowledge, and wisdom, and we teach, we learn. It's all give and take, and it's just wonderful to be here. Just wonderful to see this world evolve and open up to the concept of holism. Well, anything else you want to finish with?
Until next week, y'all have a good one.
Take care.